Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to the last question mark challenge on this channel. It has been a long while since we've been able to actually do this challenge on the F1 game, because of course, as of late, all the tracks we've been going to in the real life 2020 season have been, tracks we've never gone to, or haven't gone to at least in the original calendar, so we couldn't actually play and do a proper last question mark challenge. Didn't really feel like doing it on a set of Corsa, because the AI are pretty trash in the opening lap and whatnot, so I thought we just, obviously for those different circuits we've just done, you kind of racing around those circuits on a set of Corsa, but we're now back at a circuit where we've actually got the track in the game on the Codemasters F1 2020 game, so we're here with the last question mark challenge here today for the real life 2020 Bahrain Grand Prix. Today we take on this challenge as Sebastian Vettel in his Ferrari. It's going to be a bit of a different sort of challenge, I guess, in the Ferrari, because last season I was kind of used to aiming for the podium or aiming for the top spots with the Ferrari. But now, especially after the kind of engine nerf they did have with the patch, which wasn't maybe as large as some were hoping for, it still means the Ferrari is a little bit slower on the game than it used to be last year. So maybe we're just aiming for the high points, best of the rest, P6, P7, maybe around there from last place. Depends on how the opening lap goes. But as per usual, if you're unfamiliar with this, because it has been a long while since we've done this challenge, and we haven't really done it regularly this year, of course, with the kind of mad kind of year we've had with the skewed calendar and whatnot. It's pretty simple. We're trying to go from last to as high as we can. It's a 25% race, so it's a one-stop race, short and snappy. It means I have to make the overtakes when they arise. I can't really dawdle too much, otherwise I'm going to get stuck in traffic, especially here at Bahrain in Sector 2, and we won't be able to make as much progress as we're hoping to. And let's see what we can do in the hands of Vettel, and maybe can we predict anything with the top three, bit of wizardry with a fast lap or whatnot, or can I jinx it potentially? Both very, very plausible, but let's get into it then. It's been so long since we've done this, and I'm glad we're back. It's the last question mark challenge here today for the 2020 Bahrain Grand Prix. Fire lights are out, and we are underway from P20. Bit of a slow start there, and Latifi with a good launch in the Williams car, and you can see a sea of cars, and so I'm kind of trying to pick out a line. Going to go down the inside here, four abreast with the Haas Williams as well, into turn one, pinched very much so at the curb, and we're still four wide there. We go for the kind of undercut line on the left hand side, doesn't quite work with there, and so to be fair, it's been a pretty damn poor start actually in terms of what we're able to usually do with these challenges, gain a fair few positions in the opening corners. We're still battling for P19, one overtake done, so I guess that's just showing maybe how slow the Ferrari actually is on the base game, maybe post-patch, but also at the same time just how tricky it is at Bahrain on the opening lap as we hit the back of Giovinazzi. Little love tap. I just make sure my front wing's not damaged there, because that was a hefty whack on my wheel, I felt, on the force feedback, but thankfully no damage occurred. We're going to go down the inside, catch Magnussen napping a little bit, rubbing sidewall to sidewall there on the front right tyre, and then using a bit of ERS to get past him. Now, remember, this is the base game, so those of you who are watching my team career mode at the moment, you've got to remember that I'm not used to now this base level ERS where it runs out very quickly as we now go down the inside of Giovinazzi up the hill. It's a good run there for us, and it's a fantastic overtake there, which is a usually very difficult spot to make a move, because you get on the curb on the right tyre and your car's going to get sent spinning there. So it's a very audacious one to make, but we've done it nonetheless, and we're up into P17. But as I was saying, yeah, the ERS obviously on the base game runs out very quickly to what I'm used to now in career mode, so we have to be very sparing with that. And as well as that, the engine temperatures are a lot more sensitive, I feel, so we have to try and make sure we cool down the engine by going to standard mixture when we're behind cars and dirty air. But right now at the moment making a battle with Raikkonen, and Ocon also came in on that lap, so he had damage, so we've gained one free position there. We've got Kimi, our old teammate from the 2018 Ferrari days, and we're up into P15 now, and on the back of Romain Grosjean on the end of lap number 2. But now you can see on the bottom right, and you may be hearing, my engineers just told me DRS is unavailable to me. So DRS is activated on this lap for the rest of the race, but I do not actually have it. It's failed on my car, and so to that effect, I've got nothing to really defend Grosjean with there. I don't want to use ERS because I can't use it in the same way I do in career mode now. I can't use it every single straight to defend. So Grosjean's able to re-overtake as we now have to go side by side in turn 2, drift across there and squeeze him out and still try and hold and maintain position against the Haas car. So proving a lot more difficult, to be honest. So on the return to this challenge, definitely not doing as well as I maybe have done in the past. Lap 3, P14, although to be fair, we're aiming for best of the rest. I guess it's okay progress. And up the road, we've got Stroll going slowly. Sebastian Vettel's future teammate next season in the Aston Martin team. He's out of this one. Unfortunate DNF for him, and we nearly hit the back of Carlos Sainz as the virtual safety car is now called out. So everything gets neutralized, of course. Going to go into lean mixture, save some fuel. Lucky, though, not to hit the back of Carlos Sainz there, because I wasn't really concentrating too much. And our DRS is still broken there, so gonna have to wait a little bit longer. Hopefully, we kind of need it to come back, because if it doesn't come back by, like, you know, lap 7, I think it's going to be very difficult to make some moves, especially on the McLaren here. We know how slippery the McLaren is in a straight line. Even with the base game, it'll be pretty slippery, but we know that from my team, of course, as well. And then Kvyat's up there on the AlphaTauri, holding him up somewhat, so we need to make the most of this here. But here we are now, the virtual safety car ending, and it's going to end pretty nicely for us, because it was actually a good thing in the end that we nearly hit Sainz, because the delta time pretty much cut off at the point where I was pretty much a millimeter away from hitting his rear end, so it meant that I could get some decent acceleration on the restart, and he couldn't really do much to pull away from us. But at the moment, still waiting then in the wings, because without DRS, couldn't make a move on that previous main pit straight, and so we're still here behind the Spaniard on lap number 4, the man who's going to be taking this Ferrari seat, of course, next season. But the Ferrari's got some decent traction up the hill here, so let's try and see if we can make a similar move to the one we made on Giovinazzi, maybe, as we enter that fast right-hander. And so here we are. I'm actually going to take a tighter line on the left-hander, this time going around the outside of Sainz, and it's going to be a fantastic move. Bit of squirt of DRS there on the outside as we get through the apex, but Sainz covering off the inside, of course, but we're able to go right around the outside and up into P12, so a really nice move there, and the car is definitely liking that part of the circuit. But now stuck behind Kvyat, going down to the lean mixture just to save the engine temps, because I know straight away we're going to heat up the engine, then go in rich mix once we're out of that turbulent, dirty air, in fresh air, able to use rich mix. But you can see without DRS, and Kvyat with DRS, thanks to George Russell up the road in the Williams car, he's able to maintain track position, but we dive down the inside. It's a kamikaze dive, I can't lie, into turn 1, out of frustration, really, if anything, to the fact that he was able to just out-drag us and waltz us, in a straight line on that previous pit straight. And he comes back at us again, so really having to fight hard against the Russian, but eventually we will book in that P11, and now we go chasing after George Russell, who's doing a fantastic job in P10. How has he done this? Latifi's way down the order. He's up in P10. He must have had a fantastic opening few laps here in the Williams. Remember how slow the Williams is on the base level game. Even in my team, my current My Team career mode, it's still very slow. But we're able to now get past him, and thankfully, finally, DRS is available to us on lap number 6, so we can finally have some DRS moves now for the rest of this race. On towards lap number 7, though. Now you've got some first pit stops. Ricardo, Albon is in. Hamilton as well, the race leader, I assume, onto a set of medium tyres now. Closing up to Gasly, he's in, as well as our teammate Charles Leclerc. So on to lap number 8, and we will take the lead of the Grand Prix. Definitely doing the Ferrari number 2 driver strategy, going out for longer. But unlike in real life, this is going to help us, to be honest, because I'm going to be able to jump Gasly, hopefully, with some decent pace in clean air, using a bit more ERS. And here I was going so quickly, I almost forgot that I was pitting, so I almost kept going, because I had so much momentum, and I thought, oh, that's a pretty okay lap time, I think. So we're now in, and we're onto a set of medium tyres, and so I did not forget to come in, thankfully. 2.9 though, pretty slow pit stop. But let's see where we are then. So up the road, I think Leclerc was fighting Ricardo and Perez, I believe. So hopefully we can get in the middle of that fight. There goes Ricardo, Leclerc. There is Perez and Norris as well, I forgot as well. So we're just ahead of Gasly then. So we've got 4 cars ahead of us. Norris, Perez, Leclerc, Ricardo. Not too sure about Ricardo. The Renault's pretty quick right here. But we can try and look to get Norris and Perez and hopefully then our teammate as well eventually by the time we get to lap 14. But lap number 10, and we're going to make a big dive into turn 1. But we got it all crossed up there. there on Lando Norris, and he switchbacks us in towards turn 2. Just got a bit too eager there. You know, you saw we used a bit of extra ERS, and I thought, let's just go for it. But I'm not used to, obviously, the lack of braking power and stopping power on these cars anymore. I'm so used to my team car and the kind of maxed out cars that I just got it all out of shape. Didn't really judge the brake zone as well as I could, and so instead we're kind of stuck here once again behind Norris, looking to make it move in sector 2. Getting quite close to McLaren here into the hairpin, so can we try and sniff a move to the inside here? It's going to be very tricky. Going to have to force the move here, but we go for it. Norris opens up the gap a little bit, and again, kind of rubbing sidewall tyres on the front right, but we get the job done up into P8. Kind of, you know, leaves the door open there, so we have to kind of go for it. May as well. And now we close up to Sergio Perez, who's right on the back of our teammate Leclerc. And to be fair, Ricciardo is not too far up the road there as Perez goes a little bit slow in turn 1. I try and do something clever by trying to get a good exit into turn 2. Doesn't quite work, though, because the Ferrari doesn't have the engine oomph for it, really, to be honest. So we're still stuck behind Perez now, but he's locking up. He's definitely got some issue with his tyres. His rear end squirming a bit. And can we make the move to the inside here? Gonna go for it. Oh, bit of contact made with the man that we're going to be replacing next season. Of course, Sebastian Vettel will be taking that Racing Point car that will be liveried up as an Aston Martin next season. But we get the job done eventually on Sergio Perez. But it was a little bit hairy there, a bit over-aggressive, I can't lie. But obviously, being the last question mark challenge, that's the kind of name of the game. Kind of making the punchy overtakes, forcing the move sometimes. You can't really be too kind to the AI with this challenge because, you know, obviously we're trying to get as high up as we can. And now we come on to the last lap of the Grand Prix, 13 to 14, and we're up the back of Leclerc, pretty much pushing him through that last corner, and we've got a decent amount of rich mix and ERS to use, just enough to overtake him, I would say. You can see there we go down to single digits on the ERS. It's been a long time since I've seen that on this game, but we're up into P6. I think that we can hopefully finish in this position. This would be very solid, but let's see what the exit's like here. We've not got any more kind of rich mix to really use, not too much ERS to use, so I have to stay in standard and not deploying any, and Leclerc closes up a little bit, but unable to make a move. Ricciardo up the road in the Renault, probably a little bit too far ahead. Lewis Hamilton, shock horror, wins the Bahrain Grand Prix. I think we have a very good chance of that happening on Sunday, but let's see. Maybe I could jinx it for the sake of kind of some exciting racing, but the Mercedes cars look very strong, but Hamilton wins it, and we come through for last to 6th place at the Bahrain Grand Prix. A really decent drive from us, I think, after a very slow start. And obviously, if Vettel's driving like that tomorrow, I think we'll be very happy. I'll be happy, at least. But he's in good spirits, of course, after that podium at Turkey. You know, very chirpy in the paddock and on the radio and whatnot. Kind of, I feel like that lifted his mood a little bit in these last 3 races with a triple header. But that's been the return of the last question mark challenge here today for the F1 2020 Bahrain Grand Prix. Guys, if you did enjoy, be sure to hit that like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below, and let me know your predictions for tomorrow's race. This video being uploaded after qualifying, so let me know what you thought of quali. I don't know because I've recorded this before qualifying, but let me know what you thought of quali, and from qualifying, what are your predictions for the race tomorrow. But till then, guys, hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.